Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Tales from Your Server. In today's episode, I never really noticed casual racism until I hired a black man as a waiter at my restaurant. No, I didn't crank up the music to force you to leave after we closed. New job not going as well as I thought. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I never really noticed casual racism until I hired a black man as a waiter at my restaurant. I live in a fairly white town. Our craft beer restaurant has had a following since we opened. Our demographic tended to be older white men, but recently we've attracted the millennial crowd in increasing numbers. I became the front of house manager about 2 years ago. I hired the crew we have currently, and they have amazing chemistry with each other and customers. Last fall I hired a young African American man. I wouldn't say his race was even consciously considered by me, and he has been by no means incompetent in his job. There are occasional reminders and constant gentle pressure given towards certain areas of improvement, but that's how it goes with all of my staff. However, complaints about his service have been disproportionate compared to all our other servers. Example, that kid over there is talking to someone when he should be bringing our drinks. Well, okay, that someone is the business owner, and when I checked the ticket they had been waiting for their drinks for about 2 minutes. They got their drinks about 30 seconds later. Example 2, someone flagging me down about a server standing there doing nothing. It was him putting in a large order at our POS terminal. There have been about 6 or so instances of this in the past 2 months. And you know what's common about these complaints? They're all coming from boomer generation white men. Now there are issues such as a meal item being wrong, but those types of errors are almost evenly distributed across all staff. But these complaints about standing around, meandering, are always directed towards him, and when I check on the issue he's always doing something job related. Hell, the guy has about a 100% record for coming in when called in or asked to stay late. He has a great work ethic. No, I didn't crank up the music to force you to leave after we closed. As someone who does his best to give the best possible service, it still boggles my mind that some people can still make an issue out of nothing. About 20 minutes before we closed at the fast casual restaurant I work at, a gentleman I recognize came in and asked that we not start his order until his wife arrived. That was perfectly fine with us, of course. Nobody wants to eat cold food. About 5 minutes after our closing time, his wife arrived, and we got started on their order. Our line cooks are pretty quick and the order was easy, so a couple minutes later we had their food on the table, and all seemed good. Now that we were no longer taking orders, we got started on our side work, wiping down counters, sweeping, etc. I eventually let my sole co-worker at the time take off for the night, as we hadn't been too busy and cleanup came quickly. Shortly afterwards, the couple dining in stood up and made their way towards the door. I called out, "Thanks for coming, y'all. Have a good night," as I typically do. The man then walked up to me and said, "You know, turning up the music like that really wasn't productive for you." I told him it had just gotten quieter in the restaurant since everyone else had left. They had none of it, just gave me a scornful look and left. You really think I'm that strapped for time that I'm going to turn up the music to force you out of the restaurant barely half an hour after closing time? I had been cleaning and organizing the entire time they were here. It's not like I was waiting on them to hurry up so I could leave. I kept all the lights on, kept the music volume consistent, kept condiments out, nothing that would indicate that they had stayed past their welcome. The most frustrating part is that I did all I could to accommodate them and give them a good experience, and through no fault of my own, they ended up leaving feeling that I had wronged them. Ugh. Everything else went perfectly fine tonight, but now I feel like I've failed on some front. New job not going as well as I thought. So I do have a few questions based on the backstory I'm about to give. Thank you if you read it. I just started working at a restaurant. I have a bit of experience, albeit they do things a little bit differently here than my other job that I've been at for longer, but it's fine. I really like this newer job, and I thought I was doing great. The server training me acts like I have a lot to work on. I will say I interact with tables well. I've been told by them that they really like me. I don't bother much, and I only talk when absolutely necessary if they're already having a conversation, unless the conversation is with me. I get tipped pretty well. The one thing I consistently forget to do is bring silverware with menus. I don't forget this every time. I would say 50% of the time, which I know is probably super annoying, and even then it only happens when I'm super busy, like 8 tables, 5 of which just sat down all at the same time. Which is still about half the time I'm at work. But I'm honestly kinda charming and they always end up liking me anyways, and I make sure to really use them. So sorry, I just started here a few days ago. Rewind back to last time I was at work. The section consists of 13 tables. Server training me will just say S, is doing something else, and has a large reservation. So really I'm not training anymore, it's more like a mentor thing. I am now in the section by myself, which is fine with me. I need the money, and I actually am not that overwhelmed. Yet it's kind of busy, about 7 tables maybe, but it's okay, because they got there at different times and stuff, really no big deal. So I'm serving them all, and everything goes fine besides the fact that one table waited a few minutes for their check, which does S**ck, but it is what it is. I bring them their check and apologize for the few minutes, and they were actually pretty sweet to me about it. Anyways, things get a little hectic a bit after that wave of people leaves, and it slows down. Until it picks back up 30 minutes later, and my 3 tables turns into 7 because 4 groups of people come in and sit all at the same time. So this is okay. I let them know I'll be right with them as I see them, and I get drink orders and let them know I have a couple things to do and they'll be right back in 2 minutes, yada yada, everything is fine. I take orders and put them in. I'm serving my tables. After I get everybody all cashed out, we close the section for the night. I'm doing my Sidu work and S tells me I did awful. That confused me. I only worked for about 4 hours this night and made $200. So really I don't think I did awful at all. Nothing happened. Also, this restaurant is not high-end or fine dining or anything like that. It's a pub-style bar/restaurant. S then tells me on different days since then, over text, I haven't worked again yet since, that people complained about me. Besides the fact that she went up to my tables after being away the whole time to tell them so sorry, she's brand new, and whatever else she said to them, it was more like her complaining about me. Do you think that the shift I described went awful? Like, I'm pretty sure everything was fine. And I have another job. S asked me to come in and said, I just really need you to come and I really don't want them to let you go, and I said, well, my availability says I work my other job on this day of the week. I'm really sorry. Like, let me go. For not covering your shift. And I work my other job and this company knows that. Honestly, I really liked her. But I'm getting a weird, dishonest vibe. What do you guys think? If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.